What if the only thing standing between you and your greatness is the story you've been telling yourself? Today you'll hear from a man who's transformed millions, not just with words, but with fire-tested wisdom that rewires belief systems. Les Brown, the legend, joins Grant Cardone in a powerful conversation about purpose, storytelling, and how to own the stage in your life. Get ready. This isn't just a podcast. It's a permission slip to your next level. I just thinking about just life in general and my life in particular, and his life, that in terms of our eyes, we're taught to judge according to appearances, as opposed to judge not according to appearances. It might appear that his life is short, but he made some impact to those of us who love him and still do, and I think that life it serves us notice that there's a song that Celeste Johnson, a business partner, she sings live each day, to live each day. Some people have a day, have a week, have 20 years, 40 years. My case, I'm in this. My 77th year on the planet, and what it has done for me I get to with the time that I have left to honor him with the life that I have left to live full, and to live this life empty, to live the rest of my life 100% for God, to be of service. I know he would want me to continue to change lives. That's what I've been reflecting on. Sometimes we unconsciously sideline ourselves, we put ourselves on the bench because of age, and in Matthew's life he made an impact on me because it stirred something up in me that God said to me, you're still here. I didn't call you out of the game. I didn't put you on the bench. There's more in you. You still have something else to give, something else in you that you have not expressed. That's why you're still here, because of my grace and mercy, not to be on the couch, not in front of the television. Set there's some lives that you're supposed to touch, some people you're supposed to inspire, some people that you're supposed to train. I'm not playing with you. Got to get back out there. And this it's I always, when something happens, I ask God, what am I supposed to do with this? And what I'm supposed to do is say thank you for the time that we spent with Matthew and opening my eyes to take it to another level. And what I want to say to you, I don't know you, but as the say goes, each live, each day, and as if it were your last, things are happening that we never anticipate in this day and age. It's like a repeat. When they, the forces of evil, say, take our country back, they're talking about not taking it back politically, but turning back the hands of time and people of conscience, of morals, people who have awareness. Well, take a stand for generations that are being born today, and generations yet unborn. Tanya Brown, who is Cedric Brown's wife, no relation, but she said this is the time for us to be visible, to be vocal, and to be vigilant, to be involved. And this thing called life, oh, you know that, remember that song by If It Ain't One Thing, It's Another. And so the three things that I like to reflect on that dropped in my spirit. As Dwight Pleasure would say, one, do what matters, do the things that matter, avoid unnecessary drama. Life will bring you enough drama by yourself, by itself. All you have to do is just keep living. All you have to do is just keep waking up. And you get a knock on the door, and life will say it's your time, it's your time now. You can say who be, yeah, why be, I don't know, but it's your time. Laughter now. And somebody said that life is like an onion, you have to peel it one layer at a time. And sometimes you cry, and I know that to be true. I know that to be true. Just connected with my birth family. Some of them were glad, but some weren't to know me because I was a secret. My brother and I, we were the secret, and it's painful to be rejected. If you choose to embrace it as being painful, or say to yourself, it is what it is, whatever, and keep it moving, don't buy into it. So that's one thing you have to keep it moving and do your best with what you have. Next thing is, as I reflect on this my 77th year on the planet, not only doing what matters, but live the life that you, my oldest son, said something that I had not thought about. He said, Dad, we've been living a blessed life. And when I think about how I got here through effort, through time, and through doing something that's mean, I encourage you to do that. Put effort and time in something that's you work harder on yourself than on a job. Put the energy on you. Life has no duplicate, and it has no guarantees. Live it on your terms. I wanted to see the world before I left the world. I've been probably to over 50 to 75 countries, and I believe, like Helen Keller, she said, life is either a daring adventure or is boring. I truly have not lived a boring life. I got my entrepreneurial mindset, my community activist mind, set my seeing myself as an ambassador of hope from my mother Dar, the Bell Rucker and Beulah Rucker, and I got having a good time from this dude named Du Oliver Randolph. That was my father, so that's the only story I heard about him. Music. Okay, I got the best of them, and the worst of him laughter. They say he's a clean-cut dude. I mean, he dressed meticulously, and he was a handsome dude, and he was a laid eyes bad. That's the all stories I heard about him. I have heard a now other story, as Baba would say, what my birth mother Dar, the Bell, oh my God, she was a teacher, she was a singer, she taught Sunday school Bible classes, she was a motivational speaker, she inspired and motivated people. She's a bad lady, she was something else all right, and so I got the best of her and the worst of him. So I'm glad to still be here to serve God and to live a life that's my truth, the real me, not the one that I bought into based upon my environment and my circumstances and things I picked up in the streets, the real me, and living a life of contribution. Made a lot of mistakes, had a lot of failures, a lot of disappointments, but I'm like the lady who said, Lord, I ain't what I want to be, ain't what I'm going to be, and thank God I showing what I was, and I'm scooting my way to success. I said, John Leslie, he's come up with this new concept, scoot your way to success. And so the other thing is, not only must you do what matters, avoid creating unnecessary drama, do what you do, you find something that resonates with your heart and master it. But the other thing that's important too, and please listen to me closely, be on a talent hunt, looking for people who have skills, who have talents, who have abilities that you don't have, who are strong where you are weak. That's important. This is no time to try and do this thing called life by yourself. No time you want to organize a community of collaborative achievement, driven supportive relationships, become involved with a community of people that's going in your direction. That's why we started Hungry to Speak, and I've got a new group I've started, and if you're interested in it's called Less at Less Brown, No Less at Right. I just started this. I came up with this concept because I want to work with a small group of people, and that I can coach up close and personal like my mother did. I've been talking to people, did some interviews with people from Gainesville, Georgia, who she coached, mentored, and one of them, she's an evangelist and happened to be a grand cousin on my father's side. And so I'm going to do that. I said, you know what I want to do, that she was among a small group of kids that she worked with, and she's been telling me stories about my mother that I found fascinating, and she said there's no way anybody who saw you have been around you can deny that you are the Bell's son. If you're interested in being coached by me, just reach out to meet Coach Les Brown. Coach Les Brown. I talked to a grandniece day before yesterday, and I said, do you think that my birth mother Dar, the Bell, that she ever see me on public television or when I had my talk show? She said, she said, I remember when I was 12 years old, and when they introduced you on television, my Aunt Carrie, which was my mother's sister, asked Dar, how do you feel when you see your boy on television? How do you feel when you're looking at your son? We've seen him several times now. And I asked, what does she say? And she said, she just held a hand up, just Carrie, to be quiet until the end of your presentation. And she said, I'm proud of it. I'm proud of it. I said, wow, what are the chances that you were there on that day? Then you and I having this conversation. Look at laughter, God. So I know she saw me. I know she was aware of who I became. I don't believe it, I know it, because now I have people that can verify that when you adopted it's like a missing piece to the puzzle, dar. Belle, she gave me life, but made me brown, taught me how to live life, but there are things that's in me where I look in the mirror because of pictures that I've seen of my birth mother. I can't see but her face say, oh my God, there she is. And I've always wanted to. I said, God, let me see a picture, let me hear a voice. And I have a recording of her doing, and I have a picture of her, and I look at that picture, and I look at me. I said it'd be criminal for her to say that's not mine. I look like she baby all by herself. So I got my song, y'all heard it. I got two mothers, and I'm not ashamed. I've got two mothers, and I love them just the same. Laughter, this thing called music life. So I was just reflecting, find something that's you and give it all you have. Live life on your terms, make yourself stand out, and do what matters. Don't get caught off in the trivial things of life, the busyness of life. Sometimes we get so busy, we think we're being productive, and all we're doing is wasting time. Time is a currency, and do some deep thinking and reflection of who you should be in and out of the pandemic. What does the next greatest version of yourself look like? That's what I'm reflecting on. That's what I'm thinking about, pouring all that life into the life that my great son Math, you did not get to live. I'm sure he sing on the other side with Malik, go get him Papa. That's what my grands called me, Papa. I don't know you, but I know this to be true. You're here for a purpose. You were chosen at this point in time to do the greater work, to create a better world for our children, and for our children's children too. Plant seeds for trees that we will not sit under and gather shade, because we're here because somebody made a sacrifice. People went to jail. They lost their lives, stripped of everything, so you're not here by any accident. And if you're still breathing, not taking a dirt nap, if you can hear me, God has something else for you to do, but I don't know how. Don't worry, just make yourself available. And said here, I am Lord, just say yes, as Shaq of Gloria would say, and just pour yourself into the mindset. And Lord, rescue me from myself, deliver me from myself, so that I can live for you. Liberate me, point me in the direction of my exodus, as Donald Lawrence would say, finding that next. Why, sometimes was a little bit of a journey, I'll call it that, instead of a challenge. Do you have any advice on someone who maybe doesn't have their why concrete today, on what they're doing? You have to find out what's in their heart. My favorite book says, where your heart is, there your treasure is also. I was talking to a young man yesterday, and he said to me, when I asked him, I said, okay, you earned a lot of money, you made millions of dollars, what does the rest of your life look like? And he said, I don't know. Let's said, okay, but if you did know, stepping into your imagination, what would that look like? He said, I like to help people. I said, great, so let's work from there. Let's come up with a program that allows you to do that without interfering with what you're doing and earning money because you enjoy that too. Yes, Red Fox said money won't buy you happiness, but can make a hell of a due payment, so so we're now working together to help people in different areas of Africa to get clean water, things that we take for granted. And also, I'm a 29E. Fourth stage cancer, so helping children who are struggling with cancer as well as adults to know that you're more powerful than cancer. So he now is pottering with me. And so I encourage people who have not figured out about their next step, align themselves with someone that's doing something that you feel good about, that you say, what, I think I'd like to help that out. That's not something I'm going to give some time to, yes, but I can volunteer as well as make a financial contribution to help to improve the quality of some people. Hars man said we should be ashamed to die until we've made some major contribution to humankind, and a lot of people, they decide when they make a lot of money to get all the trinkets. And that's just not me. I got a Mickey Mouse watch, I have a Mickey Mouse underwear, but I'm not showing, and I made some serious money. But to me, living a life of contribution, living a life that will outlie you, yeah, making a mark, something that gives you a sense of fulfillment, something that when you think about it, that you will die a life of no regrets. I read this book called Live a Life of No Regrets, and they talked about these wealthy people who are about to die, and they did not ask about all the trinkets they didn't ask whether or not they got an oil change on their brand new car, or how much money the company generated that particular day. They talked about relationships, talked about meaning, what is this thing called life all about. And so to me, I'm not a religious person. I see myself as a spiritual person. Religious people afraid of going to hell. Yes, spiritual people have been there, and hell to me is what you experience when you die and you meet the person that you were supposed to become, and the work that you were supposed to do. It was part of your assignment, but you didn't take the time of self-discovery to find out what the greater work for you was. Well, I love multiple things you said there. I love the live a life that will out of you, that hit me hard. I love you know what hell is for you when you die, and you know I think it's increasingly harder to do that self-discovery work, or could me right, with distractions of cell phones, social media, things like that. Is there I guess I'm curious your opinion on that, with so many distractions today that pull us away. I mean, I had a friend of mine, for context, yesterday runs a multi-million-dollar business, had a big issue happen, and's trying to figure out what to do, and he's running 1,000,000 miles an hour. And I said, hey, you no planes in extreme turbulence, slow down. Have you ever did you sit for 10 minutes with a pen and paper and just think what the next action is? Wouldn't you know, the second we were done, he sprinted out of the room. He didn't even take the time to think about thinking the time. So anyway, I'm curious your thoughts with all the distractions today, with where self-discovery plan. I had an experience. If you don't know when to stop, sometime life would stop you. Sometime God has to break a life in order to heal a life. And I was stopped because I've been over in the airport to pick something up, and I experienced sciatica pain, and then I was dealing with the pain of 4th stage cancer. And I never forget when I was in California, P Vista, and my niece and my business partner left to go to the store. They helped me get into the bathtub, and they helped me to get out. I couldn't do it by myself. I couldn't pick up the weight of my own body, and they put me in bed, and they said, we'll be right back. And they must have gotten caught on the 405, and it took longer than what they thought, and there I was on my back, and I couldn't get her, and all I could think about, I was just like that guy. All these things that I said I had to do, no, I didn't have to do them. They were going to get done, or it did not get done, because I couldn't get up, I couldn't take myself to the restroom, and I'm here hoping and trying not to panic. Oh God, help me stabilize myself and not to panic, that if something happened in this house, I couldn't get up and run out. And it made me rethink my life, and I realized I was not irreplaceable. I'm replaceable, and we all have an expiration date. Michael Jackson said, this is it, this is the last concert I'm going to do. They spent millions of dollars on stadium and millions of dollars on marketing. It was it, but not the it that he was thinking about, right? And so in that moment I looked at my life, and I started clearing things off my plate that I had told myself I had to do. All the people that I was helping, I wrote a resignation letter. I'm no longer going to be Mr. ATM. They rejected my resignation letter, and I send it back again, okay, and I said, figure it out, and I thought about something that on lean I said. She said, give to yourself until your cup runneth over, and then give to others from overflow, and people will use you as long as you allow them to use you. Yes, and so during this time that I'm on the bed and embarrassed because I can't get up, and I might urinate on myself or soil the sheets, I realize you are replaceable. Lord, when you help me to get my strength back, that I can stand up and walk without pain. I'm going to be a different person, yeah. You know Marion White said in life, when you don't have enough courage and insight to know that you have outgrown a situation and it's time to move on in that level of enlightenment, life will move on you, yeah. And so, life moved on me, yeah, and I honored it and I respected it. And now I asked myself, is this something I want to do right? Is this part of my agenda? Or is this someone else's agenda, yeah, that I've decided to take over, yeah? And that's such a big lesson for a lot of people listening, myself, yeah. Clearly givers to the world we love, give, and as you're saying that fill your cup first, you know that the heart pumps blood to itself first. Such an important lesson for you know people that are inherently givers, not takers too. And it feels dirty, at least for me it's felt dirty at times. Give to myself first for see. I'm so used to take it all, but to your point you end up running yourself into a ditch, absolutely. And you can't give from an empty wagon. Got to take care of you. And I had a secretary who she was distributing money to my friends, to my family, and she came in and she said, "Mr. Brown." I said, "Yes, Regina." She said, "Here's a piece of paper and a pen. Hypothetically speaking, if something happened to you, write down the names of people that you help every day that will come to your rescue." I said, "Why would you ask me to do that?" She said, "I'm just curious." And I sat there with the paper in front of me. I couldn't think of anyone, while the major of the people on the paper would said less. If I could, I would, but I don't have it where if they had called me, if I didn't have it, I would get it, yeah. And so everybody's in their rightful place. Their rightful place is where their thoughts have brought them. Their true place of independence, their true place of controlling their own destiny, is where their thoughts can take them. And most people won't invest the focus, the energy, and the effort to live a life on their terms, yeah. And does that come as a daily morning routine, as an evening routine throughout the day? How does that tactically when I get up in the morning? I say all things work together for good for those who love God and for those who are called according to his purpose, yes. And then I say, Lord, whatever I face today together, you and I can handle it. And I review the goals of what I want to get out of the day. Most people get up and they just want to get through the day, yes. And then in addition to that, what I do is that I start thinking about what is it I need to learn today that I did not know yesterday. So, and after I recite those affirmations, and I look at the things that I want to get out of the day that I wrote the night before. And then I ask myself, what is it that I need to learn today that I did not know yesterday, yeah. Because I believe that in order for us to make it in and out of the pandemic one, it requires mental resolve, feeding our faith. And right now faith is being tested, yes. And it's easy to have faith. Your bills are paid, you got a job, your business is successful, the relationships are working, the children are not driving you crazy. It's easy to have faith then. But when you have had the rug snatched out from under you like the pandemic has done, faith not tested can be trusted. Okay, the next thing that's very important is having relationships. My son John Leslie, who's a speaker and a coach and the president of our company, he said, always ask yourself, when you think about your relationships, who should you count on, yeah, and who should you count out? There are people who are always there when they need you, but when you need them, you can't find them, yes. And so this is the time that we have to look at our relationships and ask the question, what is this relationship doing to me, yeah? Dr. Dennis Kimbrough said you earned within $2 to $33.00 of your closest friend's Academy Award winner. Sidney Poitier said that when you go for a walk with somebody, something happens. Either they adjust to your pace, or you adjust to their pace. Whose pace have you adjusted to? And so I encourage people to look at your relationships and ask, what is this relationship doing to me? Am I growing mentally and emotionally and spiritually and financially? Am I living a life that will outlive me? Yeah. And the next thing is that developing collaborative, achievement-driven, supported relationships. But Also practicing the principle of upgrading your communication skills. Warren Buffett, when he graduated from Harvard, the first thing he did was he invested in a communications course. I trained the people on a course I trained called Hungry to Speak. And the reason is Steve Jobs said that the storyteller is the most powerful person in the world. Yes, that if you can tell a story about yourself, about your knowledge, your skills, do a podcast that's compelling like you're doing to make your mark for that which you believe in, that this is the attention economy. But in order to get the attention, create an experience with the attention and ignite the attention. People who don't know how to do that, they have skinny children. Yes, okay. So you got to learn how to become an effective communicator. Yes, in order to make it in the attention economy, hold that attention, create an experience with that attention so that you can have your place in the market. Place so mind. Set relationships, only quality people, and effective communication skills, since we're there right before we came on today. I was talking, you want to tell them the story about the 99-cent store, the dollar store, Walmart's market. First of all, he's still in diapers. I'm 72, all right. I serve that the Lord suffer, so let's get that straight. I'm an old guy. When he was 15, I was being BN, all right, yes. And I believe that you're never too old to learn, and you're never too young to teach, and that's why I admire you. And that's why I have no qualms about asking you to mentor me in this next chapter of my life, because I'm not through yet, and there's much more for me to do. And I was talking to you about your model, going from competing his business model, competing with the dollar store, all the way up to thousands of dollars, and that is so brilliant. One of the things when I read the book Alvin Toffler, Future Shock, and he talked about the fact that when we go from a domestic economy to a global economy and education economy, that things are going to change, and it will be a time where people have to think and have to be creative and find ways to do what they do in a far more effective way, do more and do it faster, and with less resources and manpower. You have mastered that, and you're teaching others how to do it. We learn, we earn, and we pass it on. And that's what I admire about you, that you're passing it on. It's not just about you, but you're building a legacy and empowering people who will go into a future that neither one of us will see, that will take it to the next level. And that's exciting. How many speaking gigs have you done around the world? Any idea how many stages you've been on? The legend Les Brown is in the studio. I'm so excited. I've spoken to as many as 880,000 people. If people go online and put in Les Brown speaking in the Georgia Dome, yeah. And the speech is called It's Not Over Till You Win. Dexter Georgia from Man, where he put that event together. Largest gathering of entrepreneurs, that was the largest audience of over 80,000. Last year I spoke in Poland to over 25,000. That was a very powerful gathering, but I've spoken in so many places. How many times? I know you've been in Miami 4 times in your entire career. In my entire career, only 4 times. By only 4 times, yeah. And I was born in Liberty City, an abandoned building with a twin brother. We're adopted. I'm a twin. You're not identical twin, man. Well, we're fraternal twins. And so he looks like my son because I use mascara to cover my GRV. There no shame. I put her on stage. All right, okay, yeah. But so Wesley and we were adopted by Mrs. May Brown. She had a 3rd grade education. She worked on Miami Beach for wealthy families, and my dream as we were coming up was to buy her a home. That what drove me, and one of the families that she worked for, Mrs. Sedke, used to listen to Earl Nightingale, The Strangest Secret in the World, and Bill Bailey and Glenn Turner, and that was early stages of cultivating my mind and my thoughts. The Strangest Secret in the World, okay, that was the first motivational message that I heard, that sold over 1 million. He was an insurance executive, and he created these motivational messages for his insurance agents to listen to, and their performance began to increase. He had just an incredible voice, and I loved his voice and his content. And then I ran into Jim Rohn, and he worked For a guy named Bill Bale, he had a company called Best Line Products, and I heard Jim speak. I was fascinated by him and Bill Bailey from Louisville, Kentucky, and those speakers spoken into my life. I always tell speakers, I train them now, and I say that when we speak, we create, as you know, experience, because how people live their lives is a result of the story they believe about themselves. And so when you speak, what you do is distract, dispute, and inspire. You distract them from their story with your story through the strategic execution of your story, and the things that you have learned, and the failures and the setbacks and the victories. You dismantle their current belief system and inspire them to become, as Mother Trace would say, to become a pencil in the hand of God and start writing a new chapter in their lives. Distract, dispute, and inspire. We create an experience, and I believe that the reason that many speakers aren't able to do what we do is they feel that information is important. And I can tell you unequivocally, if information could change people, everybody would be skinny, rich, and happy. Yeah, that's right, you hear what he's saying, okay? Yeah, he's talking about the dismantling of the old story that you're telling the world, okay? Yes. And some people have the magical, miraculous ability to do that. This man right here has it. You have it too. Thank you. I've been watching you. I said you can't sneak up on the old man. I said look at him. You think you're going to have Bush fee? No way. Me and Les Brown are going to be working together. Yes, March 17th, 18th, and 19th. Right here in Miami. He's only spoken here 4 times in the world. You've probably been to Europe more than 4 times. Oh my goodness, yes, I've spoken in Poland and Johannesburg, South Africa and Australia and London, England and Hong Kong. I've spoken all over the world. And you know less. I mean, you're 72. I'm 58 years old. I now, you have 10 kids, yes, 5 boys and 5 girls. You trying to tell me you got to pick up the pace? Yes, they're a little, he said, be fruitful and multiply. I took him seriously. Yeah, you did, man. He's 10x this dude. That's what I'm talking about. Can you feel a brother up in? I can. And so, I mean, look, you and I'm sure you do, and I'm transparent, so I talk about this. I know I'm at the closer to the end of my career than the beginning of. I don't think so, no, because part of delivering this message when you're in alignment with your purpose, I believe that gives you more time on the universe. Just look at me, that I'm 72, but I don't have a 72-year-old energy, and there's a difference between that physiological age and that spiritual age. And I think when you're in alignment and doing what you're supposed to do that pleasures God, yeah, that it keeps you young. You have the energy of a 20-year-old, and so that allows you to be. But I mean, there's going to be a time when you and I are not live in these bodies on a stage without any question, and I'm not looking forward to that. Les Brown, stay with me. We'll be right back for Power Players. Welcome back to Power Players. Grant Cardone here with the legendary Les Brown. We were talking on break. He promised a breakthrough in March without any question. Do that because of the fact that what we do, we have the ability, and we've developed over a period of time. And I don't know exactly when it happens where you can speak to a crowd of people and you're speaking to them as a group, but also individually, that they come away as a result of your speaking into them. And as we weave a story with our experiences, because of who we are behind the words that we speak, because of what we've gone through. A person hasn't gone through anything. It's hard for them to reach somebody's heart because they never been there. Sometimes God has to break a life before he can use a life. And so you and I, 2 individuals, come on down. Yeah, we've been broken. Yeah, and so he put us back together. And as a result of that we can be used, but we couldn't be used before. And so to me, to be able to be a channel to help people discover a part of themselves that they can never discover by themselves. That's what you do, that's what we do, and that's why people listen to us and come to us. So why do people, so many people want to be public speakers, but are also fearful of it? And how can you help that person? Oh, that when, well, the training that I do, that they speak Immediately, that's the quickest thing to go. They speak immediately. You have to set them up so they don't have time to think, and so in the training they speak immediately. And they love it because I believe that we're supposed to be doing this. I had a lady flew from Australia recently and to be trained by me, and she emailed me and said cost is not an issue. And so I asked her the second day, and I only trained with people that I feel a close connection with one-on-one. And I said, why did you want to come to me? She said, I saw American television and it talked about this young white boy that went into a black church and killed 9 people. And she said, I said to myself, what if I had gotten in his ear? She says nothing else except through the eyes or the ears. And she said, and this gave me goose pimples, she said, you speak from your heart, and I want to learn how to do that because I believe the world is the way that it is, not because a few people are violent. She said the world is the way that it is because too many people are silent, yes. And I said woo, and I decided that's awesome, that my goal is to help people outside of politics and outside of religion, which polarized people have a voice, yeah. You know, politicians say do as I tell you to do, and I'll give you a piece of American PIP ministers. Say do as I tell you to do, and I can teach you how to live after you die. And our goal is teaching people how to live right here, right now, because the difference ultimately between what we do and what ministers do, they preach the gospel about Jesus. We preach the gospel that Jesus preached. They sell the messenger, and we sell the message. And so as a result, we can empower people to take charge of their lives and begin to create a new story, to write new chapters with their lives. So like Les talked about the lady from Australia that says the V is not because of the violence but because of the silence. Yeah, I think most businesses fail, most brands never make it, most people never reach their greatness because they don't know how to tell their story. Yes, that's major. What will you be sharing with the audience? Cause look man, what if, let me just share with you why the story is important. Yes, why the story is important is because when you speak, if you're selling, yeah, you're an entrepreneur, you got a product, you have an expertise. Knowledge is a new currency. Yeah, people are asking 3 questions. Who are you? H, what do you have, and why should I care? HM. And so if you don't answer that, because we know people do business, who are you? Yeah, what do you have? Why should I care? People do business with people they know, like, and trust. And when you can answer that, now you're building a rapport and a connection that creates the possibility where you can do business together and help each other go to that next level. Yet guys, spoken all over the world, a my award winner for fundraising for a public broadcasting. Yes, Fortune CEO, Fortune 500 CEO all over the world, small business owners, nonprofit community leaders. You've made, I mean, you have truly, you're an inspiration to me, because you've made you sit out in front of me and give me like what is possible, right? So you've really been an inspiration to me. And I know millions and millions of others, and you've done the same for me, and you play it down. You're so humble. No. I'm not humble. I'm not a humble man. You're just humble bred. You just humble bred. But I ain't going for it. I am not a humble man. He's gonna speak on Saturday. Right, Saturday, yes, Saturday. And you know this is, you got to come in the night before, man. I will come in the night before because I live here now. Okay, good. So we're going to have a yacht party. Can you swim? Yes, you can't be in Miami. And I swim, dude. I've met so many people here that can't swim. I'm like, dude, what are you doing? Like, what are you doing on planet Earth? There's 2/3 water. And you can't, they won't be around too long. Yes, Les Brown folks, a legend, okay? If you don't have his book, Laws of Success, okay, go get that book today on Amazon. Yes, you can get it anywhere, right? You can get it on Amazon primarily, but the other thing, I'm interested in people checking us out at the Les Brown Institute, because I think it's my mission to train these new voices of hope when there's hope in the future that gives you power in the present. We live in the greatest country in the world, there's something wrong when people try and outswim sharks to get here, or outrun a jeep barefooted to get here, come to the country, and the suicide rate in America is higher than the number of people that were killed last year in car accidents. Something is wrong with that. They lost, and we are voices of hope when there's hope in the future that gives you power in the present. And that's what my goal and mission I feel that God has with me, the Les Brown Institute, is to train people how to tell their story and to transform the lives of other individuals. That's my story. And I'm sticking to it. Yeah, he's going to stick to that because that's what he's been doing for 40 years, okay? And he's going to stick to you if you're committed to your help, to your well-being, to your wealth, to your future, your family, the love, whatever you believe in. We want to help you. March 17th, 18th, and 19th in Miami. Now look, if you can't get here, I'm going to stream it to them. Yes, we got people. A guy called me the other day and said, hey look, I got 10 people. I bought 10 tickets. I can't get down there because of this. Yes, we're going to stream it to those people. Okay, I know you got a bunch of your folks coming without any question, and all my children will be there too, so that's going to have the place have full. So here's the truth. Your story is not over, not even close. Whether you're 18 or 80, you've got something inside you the world needs. As Les said, when there's hope in the future, there's power in the present. It's time to stop sitting on your story, stop playing small, and start living like your legacy depends on it, because it does. If you want to inspire, ignite, and impact, this is your moment. And remember, it's not over until you win.